Hey coaches, are you thinking about starting a travel basketball team? Well, before you jump out there and start booking, gym time and buying jerseys and getting all the cool stuff taken care of, there's some things that I want you to think about first. All those things are important, but there's also some other things that you need to be worried about. You can have the best team, the best talent, but if you don't have good planning, you're gonna fail. So let's fix that. Jumping right into this video, you want to start defining what your age group's going to be, what your overall mission is. Are you looking to coach younger kids, and you just want them to get an opportunity to get a more competitive style of play? Maybe a group of kids in your neighborhood or your community or your kids' friends. Maybe they're playing at the local rec league and you're tired of, coaching a team that ends up being different players every single time. Maybe you want to take that team, it's that same group of kids and have them, throughout an entire season and not just, an 8-week rec season. Maybe you want a little bit more time with that group of kids and you think that they'll benefit from it. I'm going to tell you they will benefit from it, and that's a great reason to start a team. So if that's what you're doing, that's great. That's what I did, and I want to share some things with you. But that goes into the next step, which is just know why you're doing this. Are you doing it as it's your passion project? You're just, whatever it is. Maybe there's a gap in your community. Maybe they just don't have a travel team, or maybe the travel team that's in your area is just way too competitive, or you just don't like it. Maybe they're just all about making money. And you just don't want your kid to be a part of that. You can certainly do this. It'll be tough, but it's definitely something with the right planning you can do, and you can be successful at it. I would encourage you to research the area that you're in. What other teams are out there? What are they doing? Where are they going on the weekends? How far are they traveling? What are some other things that the other people or other teams in your area are doing? And if there's nothing in your area, where's the closest area? Are there even travel basketball tournaments, in your area or close? I promise there probably are, but just something to think about. When you're researching your area, where would you practice? Like, what gyms are open? And, what would those gyms charge you to practice, you're with your team in? And, is it a reasonable amount? What are the hours that they would allow you to be inside the gym? Do they have a janitor that goes home at a certain time and you need to make sure that you do it before the janitor leaves? You also want to think about making sure that you find the right coaches. If you're watching this, you're probably the coach or probably thinking about being the coach. But if not, if you're a parent and you're just trying to start a team, there are a lot of you out there for that. And, you got to find the right person. I've seen coaches or teams set up, teams and not have coaches and go out and grab somebody maybe that just got out of high school or in college. Those can be great coaches as well. But just remember that, they're going to be a little bit less in life experiences, so that you still want to have that, that adult there that can manage some of the other things for them. Because you're going to need someone that's reliable out there running the show for you. You definitely don't want to go in it by yourself or put someone else in it by themselves. You want to have the right things. Probably one of the biggest things, besides all the things that I just talked about, is knowing how much it's going to cost. What's your budget going to be? This can be really hard at the beginning. If you're doing this on your own, you got to think about all the different expenses that you're going to run into. And just think, if you started your team up and you started going to tournaments and you just didn't, calculate something, because you don't know everything when you first start out. And I do want to say that I have a free budget worksheet that I'll put a link to in the description box below. Click on that and it's downloaded. It's free, and it has every category that I think that I've ever run across in there. So, it doesn't tell you how much things are going to cost in your area, but you can fill in the blanks, and that'll help you kind of in your planning for your budget. So think about that, because you're going to have things like gym rental fees, unless you're practicing outdoors. You're going to have uniform. You got to have a uniform budget. You need to know how much they're going to cost. you need to know how much tournaments are going to be. And really what I suggest with tournaments is like most of us live in an area that's going to have a prominent travel basketball tournaments, right? They're going to have AAU. They're going to have a lot of other places that you can go sign up for and register. So there should be a lot of opportunities for that, but you want to know how much that's going to cost you. You know, if you want to have 2 tournaments a month, you know, you're looking at $800 to $1,000 right there. But you know, those different tournaments, those different organizations are going to charge you differently because you're going to have to register your team. That's a cost as well. Insurance is a cost. You know, each player, or you can get team insurance. And you're also going to have travel. Like every one of you, unless you're living in a large metropolitan area, you're going to have travel costs. And you know, those travel costs will be anywhere from like, you know, gas money to food for you and the team, to hotels and just other expenditures that you got to think about. You know, some teams go as crazy as buying snacks and waters and Gatorades for their teams. I did that my first year. I don't think I did it anymore after that. It was a lot, but you know, we certainly had food items covered and snacks for the kids so that if they got hungry, they could just grab the community snack stuff. And then once you figure out how much your budget's going to be, how are you going to figure out who's going to pay for what? How I did it with my team is I charged each player a certain amount every single month, and I had it all set up, and I was ready to go, and I made sure that I had a cushion. So I asked for more money from each player so that I had a cushion, so that if somebody left, I wouldn't be left holding the bag and taking on additional expenses that I wasn't prepared to do. Another thing is choosing your team identity, right? I think this is probably one of the most fun parts. We all like the swag. We like to, create a logo and get our team uniforms looking really squared away. So, that's another thing that you want to think about is who's going to do that. Just some ideas for you. There are websites out there where they'll design a logo for your team. They'll, put that together for you. I think, there's a bunch of different, if you just Google it, like you could get them actually pretty cheap and they can design it for you. And then you could get that off to a printing press to order uniforms. I will say some places, they do take a little while to get uniforms back. So make sure you're planning this well in advance because you don't want to set up a tournament and then not have uniforms to go play in that tournament because you just simply won't be able to play. And once once you start getting your branding set up, it'll start looking good. It'll look legitimate to parents, and you'll start recruiting or you'll start attracting players that want to be a part of your program. And then one other thing to think about too, just as part of your planning is you want to plan that, you want to have a really nice organized tryout. You want to have a system set up to where you're ordering or you're reserving gym space, and your parents are going to come in and they're going to see this organized tryout. You're going to have all different stations set up, and everybody signing up on a piece of paper, and everybody having a number so who is who, and you're running everybody through stations. You've got volunteers there to help, and you just you want to make sure that you do that. And how do you do that? How do you get these kids there? You send flyers to your schools, your local schools. You go to your local YMCA during a basketball league or Saturday games, and you just start spreading the word. You put it on social media, and people will come if you have tryouts. There'll be a lot of kids that want to be a part of that. And then obviously once you get that team picked out, you want to have that first parent meeting. Probably followed by an email where you're kind of talking about your team's expectations and what your philosophy is as a coach and how you want to do this, and what your expectations are for the parents and the team, and also like what the schedule looks like for the year or for the season, in terms of like practices and tournaments, and what the monthly fees are going to look like, and all those nice cool things wrapped up into one. I will say that, if you're new to this and you're curious, you've been coaching recreation basketball and you want to know what should my travel basketball strategy look like, I do have a digital download. I charge $9.99 for this. It's in the description box below. Take a look at it. It's 40 pages. It's things that I learned over my years of coaching travel ball, and I just kind of put it down into my thoughts on what like a first year coach should look at, should know, and should be prepared to teach, and make sure their team is prepared. Take a look at it. It goes over the different zone offense, or different defenses, press break, transition offense, just the things that I think that you need to know and be prepared to know, so that you're not caught, scratching your head like, oh man, I didn't think about this, because that will happen. So, these are just some of the things that I think you need to think about before you jump into getting your travel basketball team set up. It's a fun opportunity. It's going to be exciting for you once you decide to do it, but definitely please take some of these tips and tricks that I threw out on this video today to make your experience a little bit more easier.